They rearranged the thrift store again for the third time in recent memory. I'm Michelle, and this is my romantic tangle, and I don't like change. I don't like it when stores move things around, especially when it's the grocery store, but even when it's the thrift store, it kind of throws off your schedule of getting through there and finding the things that you were looking for. I went out shopping with my daughter, and I don't know, the thrifting has been awful lately. Last time I tried to go to this particular store, there was not a parking space to be had, and they have a decent sized parking lot with some overflow parking, but it didn't happen. There were some fun things to look at, despite the fact that I didn't know where I was going. I like these owls. I mentioned in one of my floss tube videos that I was looking for pairs of birds to stitch because I just am, and those owls are cute. I zoomed in on something there, but I have no idea what it was. They had milk glass. There has been more milk glass lately. I don't know why. I like this candy dish, and I really like the candy dish next to it with the openings you could use to store scissors. I'm regretting that I didn't get the dollar one at that estate sale. This one was really pretty, but just a little too rich for my blood. And I only have two pairs of little scissors that would fit in it, so it's not like I need one of these. I also need to look through Grandma's candy dishes, and I don't think she had one like that. But I never looked at her candy dishes for cross-stitch storage before. They're tucked away carefully in a box in the attic, and maybe they'll find their way into my house sooner rather than later. When I find a bunch like this, I always wonder if it was one person's collection that they did away with, because sometimes it just seems like there's more than would randomly come in. You see that with other things too, like collection of cows or pigs, so why not milk glass? Like these little mixing bowls, I'm sure those are not milk glass, but they were pretty anyway. A Coolinique specialty food molding system. I don't know what that is or quite why you would want it. This pan caught my eye. It's an astronaut, which is kind of cool. But then it says on the label that you can make Santa or a cowboy, I think it was. And I don't know if they're saying that you can do that with other pans in the collection, which would make sense because I cannot see using that to either get a cowboy or Santa. Somebody let me know if that was a thing and if I'm not seeing something that would make those possible, because I'm kind of loving the idea of a pan that would do all three, and I'm kind of loving the idea of an astronaut pan, but I don't decorate cakes. Not after the Elmo that I did for my daughter's second birthday that just about gave me carpal tunnel. It was an acceptable cake, but wow, that was hard, and I have not tried anything like it since. Once was enough to get me through 22 years. This is an Able Skiver pan, and it was $29.95, I think that tag says, which is more than we spent buying a brand new one for our son for Christmas a couple of years ago. So I don't know if maybe this is a much, much better Able Skiver pan. A lady never discusses the size of her fabric stash. That one caught my eye as I was walking past. And here is a partially completed kit of, I think it was the HMS Bounty. I always wonder about things like that because who knows if it has anywhere near the pieces to get it finished. I finally found the craft section, which is almost close to where it originally was, but not quite. And they have actually spread out. There are 3 or 4 aisles of stuff that would have originally been lumped into the little crafting section. There was a lot of gift wrap and party supplies and stuff that I wouldn't consider to be crafting, but that they put with the crafting. Look at all that yarn. That is more than I have ever seen in this store, and none of it was what I'm looking for. I'm not looking for yarn at the thrift store right now. I may succumb to yarn at an estate sale, or, okay, if I found some really great sock yarn, maybe, but my days of buying acrylic at the thrift store are on hold. Look at this needlepoint. I think he's old. Yes, that is a rabbit he is holding. And I don't know if this is one of those pieces they sold with like the middle already stitched and you just did the background. My mom had a chair cushion like that that she worked on for what seemed like forever and then never finished. This little guy is kind of cool, and he was only 79 cents. I never, ever see old vintage needlepoint like this, let alone for that cheap. So he came home with me. The little voice in the back of my head is saying maybe he could be a journal cover or something, but I really don't have a solid plan. I also really don't feel like I need a solid plan to justify a 79-cent purchase. I'll keep him here safe and sound for a while, and if I really truly do not figure out something to do with him, he can go get passed on to someone else, but I'm not in a hurry. When it comes to things like that that I've never seen before and I'm not likely to see again anytime soon, I don't worry about it too much. This is the first time in forever that they have had scrap bags of fabric. That one had some vintage calico and then a whole lot of what I think was felt, but it was hard to tell through the plastic, and I'm not yet at that age of thrift store shopping where you can get away with poking a hole in the bag and going through it. My grandma used to do that all the time, and I have seen other women in that age group do that. So once in a while, if I am very sure I will buy something, I will maybe check it out a little bit closer, but that's rare. Oh, that was a partially completed quilt that someone else had started, but the blocks on the other side were licensed sports team fabric, so not for me. I am looking for partially finished quilts because apparently I don't have enough UFOs of my own to tackle, and I'm in the mood to take on other people's unfinished things. I'm not going to apologize for that either. I hope that this is where the craft section is going to land and it will stay here, because if it does, this is easier to sort through than what they used to have. My fingers are crossed. I will be back again soon if I can find myself a parking space. I don't know what has been up lately, if it was because the state of Oregon just finally reopened, whatever that means, and people are out. They had a lot of scrapbooking fabric, and I've got half an idea that has me looking for paper to use as backgrounds, lots of stamps, lots of cute punches. There apparently was one at one time out there that was itty bitty silverware, which it's no longer available. The odds of my finding one are slim, but I keep looking. Thought about whether I could use the tags as thread drops or something like that, but then talked myself out of it. And oh, and here's our thing we have never seen at a thrift store before. They had a full-size potter's wheel, which $449, I think. I have no idea what those go for. I hope that if a potter finds it and needs it, that that is priced appropriately and they can take it home and use it to create their art. I'll keep looking for cheap cross stitch kits. Thank you for thrifting with me. Did you see anything that I didn't that you would have brought home? Let me know in the comments. I'm Michelle. This is my romantic tangle, and I'll be back with you with more videos soon.